On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks got their biggest win of the season on Dirk Nowitzki's jersey retirement night, and we didn't get to spend enough time on it. So we're revisiting that game, talking about what it means for the Mavs going forward.
Luka All-Star voting, and is Kawhi gonna actually come back?
We'll talk about all that on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Hey, Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. Remember, Locked On Mavs is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can watch us right now. Thanks for getting us to 9,000 subscribers. Let's get to 10K. Let's get there. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy made easy. Use the promo code NBA. Go to the App Store and download the app today. And joining me, as always, my co-host, contributor, writer, all-around good guy at Mavs.com. The all-star voting voter, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I'm already in my PJs. I'm ready to go to bed. It was a long night last night. It was a great night last night. You know, honoring Dirk Nowitzki. If you're still living in that if you're still living in that moment and loving Dirk and didn't listen to our pod from yesterday, go back and listen to that, as Nick and I were at the game last night, stuck around for a while and just soaked in all the nostalgia.
We got some stuff.
Yes. My bank account is a little lighter. Might not have gas money no, just kidding. But no, it was fun. But today we got some all-star voting returns in, and a little bit low number for Luka Doncic.
Yeah, the all-star voting first round came out, and it always surprises me. It's always like, oh wait, we're doing this already? Like we're already in this? We're already voting for all-stars? So yeah, this came out today. I'll go ahead and show it to people. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I'll go ahead and drop it in right here. You can go ahead and see. We have Luka Doncic, second place among guards in the Western Conference, but he's like 1.8 million behind Steph Curry for number one in the West guards. And he also has less votes than Andrew Wiggins, who's a forward, so he's in a different category, but still, Luka having less votes than Andrew Wiggins is just insane to me. Now, remember, this is not the only way that these guys make it to a starter spot, right? It's 50% of it. And so at this point, Luka would be a starter based on this, because he's gonna get picked from everybody else, according to this list. Like, look at who else is gonna make it over him. Maybe Booker or Paul. Maybe you can make.
I was surprised Chris Paul was as low as he was. But
I just don't think the Phoenix fan base is not that big though, right? It's a good fan base.
Do you think Memphis is?
But John Morant and Grizzlies have been like a surprise, and so that surprise team, you get a little juice, and he's in a lot of highlights.
Player, baby.
He's in the highlights and all the dunks and all that stuff. So yeah, there you go. KP did not break into the top 10. I thought maybe there'd be a chance. I saw a little push from some of our Mavs content creators out there. They were trying to push KP into that front court spot, but nope. He did not make it in there. So that's where we are. Go vote Luka. The way that you vote is on NBA.com, and go tweet him and tweet hashtag NBA All-Star with Luka's name and all that. So go get it done. Go get Luka a for sure spot in the All-Star game.
Yeah, I was looking at it. The Paul George voting kind of surprised me a little bit. I mean, I know he's in the LA market, but still, that one surprised me. I think
just look at the rest of the options, right? It's LeBron number one. He's got 2 million votes. Jokic number two. This is among Western Conference front court players. Jokic number two, 1.6 million. And then Paul George has 1 million votes. Then the rest of the list is Wiggins, Draymond, Anthony Davis, Towns, Carmelo, Rudy Gobert, DeAndre Ayton. Like the rest of those names, there's not really any that are sticking out that are better than Paul George this year.
Yeah, as Paul George continues to miss some games, I actually think Draymond will pass him. I think Draymond will get that 5th starting spot. I was pretty much in considering Luka a lock for that second guard spot. The only thing that worries me a little bit is how much time he might, I don't know how much time he's going to miss with the ankle thing. He's doubtful for Friday's game in Houston.
Plus the time he's already missed, right?
Plus the already. But I was picturing. I was talking to somebody about this the other day about his All-Star stuff, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna, he's back now. He's gonna continue playing. They're gonna win some games. I think they'll go on a little bit of run. And you can't tell me if the Mavericks are a top 6, possibly a top 5 team in the West, and Luka's averaging 26, 27 points, 9 and 9, that he's not going to be a starter considering the fan vote too. But let's just see what the injury looks like. I still think he gets it over Ja, but I think the media and players are going to be really in Ja's camp, especially if Luka misses some time.
Luka is doubtful for the Rockets game. KP, Boban, and Isaiah Thomas still are out with health and safety protocols in that game, so we'll mention that. While we're talking about all-star voting, though, let's throw in one of our 5-star Apple Podcast mailbag questions. If you want to get a question answered on the podcast, submit a 5-star Apple Podcast review in Apple Podcasts, and we will answer it on the show. This one's from Rashav. He asks, "What's up, Nick and Isaac? My question is, what all-star would be the worst fit on the Mavs?" Kind of a fun question. So I wanted to take the all-star voting we have, and let's just say the voting was 100% of what counts to be a starter. Which of these all-stars would be the worst fit with Luka right now? LeBron, Jokic, Paul George, Steph Curry. We'll put Ja Morant there instead of Luka. Durant, Giannis, Embiid, DeRozan, or Harden. Which one do you think would be the worst fit?
I mean, I'll just go ahead and fully lean into it, and I'll say DeMar DeRozan.
No, come on. I think Harden's a worse fit than DeRozan even. You think so? Especially the way Harden's been playing and the way DeRozan's been playing this year. If we're going to go based off,
here's my thing. Based off just this year, yes, because DeRozan's shooting. Because the whole DeRozan dialogue, any player dialogue out there is like, if you have an opinion on a player and then a player changes something drastically, which DeRozan has. He's changed his game drastically. He's
added the playmaking.
Well, he's always been a little bit of playmaker, but he's gotten better at it. But he's shooting a 3 really, really well this year. His percentage is his highest in his career. So if you think that's sustainable, then you go with DeRozan. But my mind goes to Harden over him because Harden's always been a good 3-point shooter. So, but
I threw Ja in there. Should Ja be the one that we think of as the worst fit based on just all the rest of these guys?
I mean, I guess so, but I just freaking love Ja Morant. Like, I think he's a good defender. I don't think he's first team all defense, but I like his defense more than Harden's or DeRozan's.
Sure, fair. Other big news of the day is that Kawhi Leonard may come back at some point this season. Chris Haynes had a whole report about it. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit, the implications about that. But the Mavericks got a huge win against the Golden State Warriors the other night. We talked about it in the third segment of yesterday's show, but I want to break it down and talk about it a little bit more and talk about, are the Mavericks finally going in a really good direction? We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. It's the best daily fantasy prop game on the market. They offer more NBA props than any other daily fantasy prop operator on the market. You just go to Prize Picks, you sign in, you can check out all the props and all the things available for you to bet on. So go ahead and check it out right now. Let's say they have this Kansas City Denver game, NFL. You can pick Patrick Mahomes, 265.5 yards. You can go over under on that one. You can also go over to Dak Prescott. Let's say you're feeling good about Dak against the Eagles. Go over on Dak, go under on Mahomes. You can
What's Dak's number at?
250.
Oh, give me the over on that.
Yeah, over on that one. Let's say we'll go the under on Mahomes or something because maybe they don't need to play as hard in that game. Put down $20 and you can win $40 on Prize Picks. So go check it out, prizepicks.com, and use the promo code NBA in your app store. Download the app. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. Also, I want to tell you about Shopify. If you have a small business, you need to check out Shopify. It gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big businesses, so upstarts, startups, and established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Shopify powers millions of businesses from first sale to full scale, all the way up. It's all the things that you need. Gain insights as you grow with detailed reporting of conversion rates, profit margins, and beyond. Go to shopify.com/LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today. Go to shopify.com/lockedonnba right now. Again, shopify.com/lockedonnba. All right, Isaac Harris, let's talk about this game a little bit because I didn't think we gave it enough time. So I just want to have one more conversation about it. The Mavericks get this win over the Golden State Warriors, the best team in the NBA so far until Kyrie just came back. I think that Nets team maybe giving them a run for their money. But the Mavs hold them to 82 points, the lowest scoring output for the Warriors this whole season. The Mavericks have had this run of some really good defensive games. Did we finally see the Mavericks put it all together in a game against the Warriors, where this is what we've been building towards? Jason Kidd in the offseason said, this year we're going to play a little defense. And now we're finally seeing it. We kind of clowned him for it a little bit, and now we're finally seeing it over this stretch. Are the Mavericks starting to go in the right direction based on this game?
Remember when Rick said it last training camp and like, hey, defense.
And the one before that, and the one before that, and then the one before that?
No, I mean, it's the fifth game in a row. We've said some of the stuff, but fifth game in a row, they've held our opponent under 100 points, third in a row under 90. I think it was a combination of, yes, they were playing good defense. They're trying harder on defense. I know that sounds really cliche, but they're rotating faster, closing out better. They're just kind of putting that together. Now, I think the bigger question is, what does this look like when you have your three best players together? Because it started, this little defensive run here, started with a couple of games with KP in. Luka was still out. KP goes into protocols. Luka comes back. That it continues to be a good defense. But what does it look like when Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, Jalen Brunson all on the floor together? Can they still maintain a top defense in the league right now? I think that's the bigger question right now.
It's going to be interesting when KP comes back. Now, the Mavericks are probably going to be without Luka in this game on Friday, so we won't see either of those guys. And the question is, can Brunson and Tim Hardaway Jr. play together, right? There's this combination of these four players the Mavs need for their offense to work. Luka, Brunson, KP, and Tim Hardaway Jr., right? Like some combination of those guys kind of have to be on the floor, or else the Mavericks offense just is a shrug, right? What are you doing at that point? But you can't play three of them together, it seems like. Or can you get away with Luka, Brunson, and Porzingis? Is Porzingis playing good enough defense this season to be able to put him out there with those two other guys? So it's an interesting question for Jason Kidd. It feels to me like he's finally understanding the personnel on the Mavericks team. Him and the rest of the assistants are finally understanding the personnel that they have and putting good rotations together and finally figuring out, okay, these are the guys that need to play in a moment like this. We'll sit Tim in this moment. We'll bring back Brunson in this moment. We need some more playmaking. We'll bring it back Reggie Bullock. We'll only play Sterling Brown off the bench as a wing, right? They're starting to try and figure those things out.
Yeah, and you got Frank Ntilikina that's just not playing. He's not even in a rotation right now. Yeah. And that's where him, Marquise Chris, these are two guys that I think are capable of being in the rotation. They're just the odd man out right now. So going into this trade
deadline, put Josh Green in there too, or no?
I guess the Warriors, he only played like 5-6 minutes in the game, right. But he has been playing, over 10 in that eighth man role, something like that. So, but I think it's more of, it shows you that if they do make a trade coming up in the next few weeks, a 3-for-1, a 2-for-1, or something like that they have some guys on the back. I think if you see something, especially if it's not like a bigger deal, if you see a bench move or a fifth starter type of trade, and it's like a 3-for-1, type of trade, it's more of, you're getting the better player back in the deal, but it's also a belief in these guys like Marquise Chris or Frank Ntilikina that they believe they should be part of the rotation. So they almost have, I know if you're not a huge believer in the roster right now, you're going to hate this line, but they almost have like too many guys in the sense of, like Ntilikina was starting and I thought playing decent basketball for a little stretch there, and now he's just not even in the rotation. So I don't think he's that bad to not be in the rotation. It's just they have too many guys in that category of rotation players right now. Yeah,
it's like the food pyramid, right? It's just have too many grains. needs some more of those top level ones, right? You need to move some of the guys up the pyramid. But they have a lot down in this area, which is fine, and it's good because they have some guys to replace, and which is why they're able to keep it steady while Luka and KP have been out. But yeah. The other thing from this game is the impact of Dorian Finney-Smith. I was watching back some of it from from last night, and I was just watching Dorian and just thinking, man, like this guy, he really put it all together for him, defending Steph, like just being a long defender, being able to stick with him in just the certain ways that he was. Now, obviously, Steph still got off shots, and Steph just missed shots, right? The Warriors lost to the Pelicans, tonight, so this Warriors team is in a funk right now. But Dorian made it hard for Steph at times, and him doing that, plus scoring 17 points, the second leading scorer for the Mavs, hitting 4 threes, 9 boards, 3 offensive rebounds, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover, and he was positive 9 in the game, the minutes that he played. We're going to talk about Dorian in the third segment. Is he the biggest bargain in the NBA right now? Is he the best, like the best contract in the NBA based on non-rookie deals? Because there's obviously, like, Luka's making $10 million, right? Luka's the best best contract in the NBA right now. But is Dorian the best bargain? We'll get into that a little bit later. But let's talk about Kawhi, because Kawhi may come back. This is from Chris Haynes. He reported that this report that comes out for all these injured players now. Everybody is feeling really good about the progress of this player, and he's ahead of schedule in his rehab. But he says that Kawhi Leonard now is ahead of schedule in rehab from a torn ACL, with a strong possibility of a return this season. What are the implications for the Mavericks if Kawhi comes back? And let me tell you what the first one is. If Kawhi comes back right before the playoffs, doesn't matter what time, but for the playoffs, let's say he's back for the first round, the Dallas Mavericks and LA Clippers will play in the first round.
No.
I have no doubts. If Kawhi does come back, it's just going to happen again.
Stop it.
I'm telling you, it's just the way the universe works at this point.
No, I don't think they'll play in the first round. I mean,
they're close right now. I mean, Mavericks are the 5 and Clippers are the 7th. They're hovering around that spot right there, right? Like that 3-6, 4-5.
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be like a 4-5 matchup, because I don't think anybody's getting close to cracking that top 3 with Utah. Utah, Phoenix, and Golden State.
We got a while left, and Utah's hitting some COVID outages right now. So.
Now, it would be wild if it was a play-in game. That would just be insane,
mind-blowing. One game,
but no, I mean, I think this isn't groundbreaking news here, but we're all looking at this middle set of teams and looking at Denver, looking at the Clippers, and saying, all right, Denver's missing. I mean, Denver's really bad as far as injuries right now. Not just Jamal Murray; they're missing a ton of people, and the Clippers thing. I mean, with Paul George being out, they just I don't know. I hate their roster, but it's. If they get Kawhi back and Paul George at the end of the season, are you more scared of them than the Lakers if you're one of those top 3 seeds?
Yeah, I mean, I was more scared of them at full strength like last year, right? Even with the Lakers playing better basketball than they are this year, which is kind of wild to say, but yeah, I think I would be.
But for a Mavericks angle, you're pretty much looking at 3 seeds. Like, a lot of these teams are fighting for 3 seeds. Like Utah, Golden State, Phoenix are probably going to finish in the top 3. I think it would surprise a lot of people if one of those 3 fall out. Yeah. So you're looking at you have to finish in the top 6 to avoid the play-in. So 4, 5, 6. Memphis has a 5-game lead on the Mavs right now from the difference between a 4 seed and the 5 seed. That stuff can change. Obviously, COVID can change everything in this league super fast. We all know this, but it's this group, man. It's the group of, if you want to take the Spurs out of it, which they're even 3 games back from the Timberwolves for 9, but you got this group of like Dallas, the Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Timberwolves that are all within a 2-game span of each other. So it's just a matter. I mean, it sucks, but it's just a matter of who's going to be healthier in that second half of the season.
Yeah, it really does. You win 2 games in this Western Conference stretch, and you're the 5 seed like the Mavs are right now. You lose 2 games, and all of a sudden you're the 9 seed like the Mavs were like last week. Right?
Yeah, and this sounds kind of crazy to say this, but we're 3 games away from the season being halfway over. And we're almost at the halfway point. I mean, we're going to be at the halfway point next week. That's insane that the season's halfway done already.
Yeah, so we'll see. I mean, who knows what this Kawhi Leonard could be coming back earlier than strong possibility to return this season. Like what state? My first question was, okay, what state would he be in, right? Like he's not going to be the Kawhi the Mavs saw in the playoffs last year, right? There's just no way.
But I don't know if he comes back
strength.
though. I don't know if he comes back though if he's not going to be full strength. I would almost view it as if he's back.
Like last year he was playing and like he was playing up until that point and warmed up for the playoffs, right? If he comes back and he's at full strength but not in full condition, full rhythm, like all that's what I'm saying, all that kind of stuff. If he's in,
I'm still scared of freaking Kawhi.
Sure, yeah, as it should be. Now the Mavs defense is a little better this year, and they got a couple more guys that can throw at him. They would no longer be throwing Seth Curry at Kawhi to guard him, right?
No,
they're several seasons removed from that. But all right, coming up. Is Dorian Finney-Smith the biggest bargain in the NBA? He's making $4 million this year. He's been playing incredible basketball. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about we got a list, and we checked it twice of players on non-rookie scale deals that are maybe a better bargain than Dorian. Let's see if we can find one. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about the best bargain that we have. It's Built Bar. Yes. It's such a good bargain. Isaac and I literally buy them ourselves. We pay our own money for them. I took a picture of you and me at the game the other night, and I was eating a Built Bar, and I showed it to my wife, and she laughed. She's like, haha, you had to get the Built Bar in. I did. This is me eating the Built Bar with you, just looking at your phone.
What am I doing?
You're just looking at Instagram or something. But yeah, Built Bar. It's a protein bar. It tastes like a candy bar. They're delicious. They have this Built Crave. It's this new bar.
I
caramel
seen this the other day. It looks good.
With peanuts. It's a new bar. I have not tried it yet. I'm interested in it. 160 calories. You have you have 17 grams of protein. And if you look at the sugar, there's not that much sugar either. It's a bar that's covered in 100% chocolate, delicious. All these bars are awesome. 5 grams of sugar. I just finally found it. 5 grams of sugar in this bar. They're great. Go check it out. Coconut brownie chunk is our favorite. Isaac doesn't even like coconut that much, and he still loves this bar. You have to go check it out. There's all kinds of other things. They still have some eggnog flavors left over, caramel macchiato, ruby chocolate, lemon dip cheesecake. Go check it out, built.com. Use that promo code LOCKED15. You get 15% off your entire order, no matter how many boxes you buy. LOCKED15 is the promo code, built.com. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into our last topic here, and that's Dorian Finney-Smith, man. He has just been on an absolute
this guy
tear recently. Now, I feel like I start every segment about Dorian like this. We are absolutely 100% no apologies biased about Dorian because we have followed him literally. His first year in the NBA was our first year covering the Mavs in person. And so we have watched his entire career. We've interviewed him. We've talked to him. It was 2016-17 was at least the first year I was there. Maybe not for you. But yeah, it's the first year. And so,
because this is our 6th season.
Yeah. So we've followed his career and rooted for him. He's one of the people in the NBA we want to succeed the most, but we could still look at him rationally. Last 9 games, Dorian, 14 points a game, 5 boards. One of them was an offensive, 2.5 assists a game. That's another thing he's really added is just he's finding an open guy. He's shooting 40% from 3 with 6 attempts per game in that stretch, shooting 81% from the line. He's a plus 8.7 in the plus minus on average over this 9-game stretch. And the Mavericks are playing really well. The Mavericks are 6-3 in that stretch that he's played. And the one game he missed was against Utah where they lost. So this has been an incredible stretch for Dorian. And he's really coming into his own. He's really starting to play like the 3-and-D wing with a little extra that the Mavs have always envisioned for him to be.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about these guys all the time about having the solid role players. Every great team has the role players, has the glue guys that are cheap contracts, but they play up to those contracts. And we've always been fans of Dorian and Maxey and these guys. It's the broken record of Mavericks just got to figure out, spot 2 and 3 as far as best players on the team. And now we're seeing Dorian even, fly higher, with his wings stretched out here because that, he's averaging a career high in points this year, 10 points a game. He hasn't averaged that. You said assist, 3-point percentage, shooting 38% on the season this year.
Since the start of November, 42% from 3.
Let's go. And, played in all 37 games. He's always been a durable guy, 32 minutes a night. So when you look at, I don't know if I would say one of the best like bargains in NBA because without putting like a contract number on it, because I think we could find some guys making like 10, 15 million that you're like this, Steph Curry contracts of the world. But when you look at the bottom of the league of these guys that sign minimum deals up to like $5 million a year. And it's like to be these role player type of guys. That's where I looked at my list and I'm like, all right, I set the bar at $5 million. Who are some of these guys in the league that are making $5 million or less that are having huge impacts on their team that are for these playoff teams specifically that are huge bargains? Dorian is one of these guys.
I took it a step further. I took it, is he one of the best bargains? Because when I think of bargains, I do think of that lower number. So yes, I did look at around that $5 million mark. I went up to about $8 million to see, okay, who's in this range where, is there anybody that's a better value than that, under like, 9 million basically is what I looked at. Because if you're at 9 million, that's over double what Dorian is making this year. Dorian's making $4 million this year.
There's 217 players in the league making over $5 million. And the amount of players making more money, annual salary this year than Dorian Finney-Smith is 249 players making more money this year than Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's a lot. And we took out rookie scale deals in our actual list. So like, there's a bunch of guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander making like $4 million, right? He's obviously a better player than Dorian Finney-Smith, right? And it would be a better bargain at this point. There's guys like that all throughout that list of players. But our list, let's take a look at some of these players. So these are the minimum guys. Tell me if you would rather have any of these guys over Dorian. These are guys making the minimum. LaMarcus Aldridge, Iguodala, Carmelo, Trevor Ariza, Avery Bradley, basically the whole Lakers team. Dwight Howard, Andre Drummond is on the minimum. That one's interesting. That one's interesting. Drummond's like he's underpaid, I think, right now, which is weird.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. I'll stop you on some of these names because I made a top five of players under.
All right, yeah, you go ahead and share.
Well, I just said top five. I made a whole list, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna give 5 players that make under $5 million. And I was going to stop you because I think 2 players are on my list of Aldridge and Drummond. And, Aldridge he's played a crucial role for that Nets team to make what he makes. And he, I think he's averaging 13, maybe 15 points a game. I'm basically a minimum contract. Like that's dumb to have Aldridge at that number, but that's what you get when you're a Nets team. And Drummond, he comes off the bench, but he's still almost averaging 9 points a game. Shout out to all the Mavs fans who wanted to trade for Drummond.
He was the key, Isaac. He was
the key to success. But yeah, I had both of those guys for minimum contracts. That's good value.
And that value is like they took less money, right? Is what we're saying. Like they took less money to be in those situations. The other one that I would actually think about is Otto Porter. He's on a minimum. He's
on my top 5. Yeah,
he's in the minimum for the Warriors, and he's actually playing really well this year. I would probably still take Dorian over him just as a player, but Otto Porter's making less money than him this year. So those are the minimum guys that I grabbed. That I was like, maybe some of these guys are.
The only other name I'd add to this, I don't know if he's on the minimum, but I know it's under $5 million. Is Bielitsa. And so I mean my top 5 of this list of non-rookie contract guys making under $5 million was Aldridge, Drummond, Bielitsa, Otto Porter Jr., and Dorian Finney-Smith. And the thing that even sets Dorian outside of those guys is the fact that Dorian's averaging over 30 minutes a game. He's starting every single game. Of all these different lineup combinations that are being thrown out there, he's always the one that's going to be in that. 37 games started. And he just does all the dirty work to where, like, I think Bielitsa is amazing value for the Warriors, but the dude's averaging 7 points, and he comes off the bench and plays, 15 minutes a game, something like that. So it's all about
his role.
Yeah, he plays his role, he plays it well, but it's all about what's the value of this. And even making these type of rankings whenever Dorian's averaging 32 minutes a night and starting every game. So this is why it's these exercises that shows I'm like, dang, man, Dorian at this value is insane.
Let me throw you the rest of the players that I had that were either around his number of 4 million, or they're obviously all above the number of 4 million, but are in that range. Bobby Portis making 4.3.
Solid value. Yeah.
Solid value. Still not like a guaranteed starter on a team that, is in the playoffs. Jeff Green and Jermichael Green, both around 4.5 in that range for the Nuggets. Jeff Green was really good for the Nets last year. He was sort of in that, kind of in the LaMarcus Aldridge role, different players, but Taj Gibson making 4.9. Tibbs' guy. Lou Williams making $5 million. Kendrick Nunn hasn't played yet, but he's making $5 million for the Lakers. That's another one
I
that's
don't even know what to think about him.
a little inflated. And yeah, we have no idea what he's going to be on the Lakers because we haven't seen him yet. Kevon Looney, starter on the Warriors, making $5.1 million. That's a pretty good deal. That's in the same vein as Dorian right now.
Yeah,
Just $1 million more.
yeah.
Another weird one, Dennis Schroeder, $5.8 million.
That's so weird.
Him and Rudy Gay making $5.8 million. Those are two
Are we
guys.
sure he brings solid value though?
He's averaging like 18 points a game. So he's putting numbers up.
Yeah.
Here's one that got me thinking. I was like, all right, who's the best bargain in the NBA? This is another one a little inflated because of the team he plays on. Patty Mills making $5.8 million.
No, well, yeah. I mean, that's one of the best bargain. That's why when you say what's the best bargain in the NBA, when you start looking at numbers like that, like Patty Mills is probably one of the top answers to that. He's a better basketball player than Dorian Finney-Smith.
Finney-Smith, let's qualify it. The best non-ring chasing bargain in the NBA.
Best non-ring chasing, non-rookie contract guy making.
Yeah, we qualified it twice already.
Sounds like an ESPN stat.
I know. It's like
on
one of those
Thursday
things.
evenings in the late game in the third quarter from the left corner. Steph Curry's
32.1 minutes per game. Right. Couple others that are just pretty good bargains. PJ Tucker, $7 million. Zubac, $7.5 million. Our boy Seth Curry, 8.2. Caruso, 8.6. Royce O'Neal, 8.8. And Maxey, 8.8. But those guys are all making double what Dorian makes. So that's what we're talking about.
No
right
Whiteside. Didn't know if you.
Here's 4 players, and we'll end here, that are making more money than Dorian Finney-Smith this year to not play.
Monte Ellis.
The Lakers are Monte Ellis is still getting paid, but he's not making more than $4 million this year. The Lakers are still paying our friend Luol Deng $5 million this year to not play.
This is a good tweet right here.
Miami is paying Ryan Anderson $5.2 million to not play for them this year.
Dang.
The Knicks are paying Joakim Noah $6.4 million to not play this year and to hang out and do whatever Joakim Noah does. And the last one, the name you haven't heard in a long time.
Josh Smith.
The Orlando Magic are paying Timofey Mozgov $5.5 million to not play this year.
Make that bank. Sammy, Bobby Bonilla.
I should have tweeted that out during the game the other night. That would have gone.
Hey,
crazy.
I think Jared Vanderbilt is a solid deal too.
What's he making?
He's making under 5, and you would think that it's a rookie contract, but he was a second round pick like 4 years ago. So he already finished that contract and then signed, he was with the Nuggets, then signed with the Timberwolves. And I really like his game, and I think it's a good value for them.
That's solid. Obviously, I would still pick Dorian over him, but yeah.
But I think he has it's a similar type of game that I think could, like, what they ask of him and what you like, this defensive guy energy type thing. Like, it's just a good value. I think
he's just
Campazzo too. I think is a.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
I think he's solid value too coming off the bench. I mean, he shouldn't be a starter, but coming off the bench, he's annoying. So
yeah, he's starter by necessity for that team. All their injuries. So there you go. Dorian Finney-Smith, one of the best qualified bargains in the NBA after we did that. So there you go. I will be back covering the Rockets game. We'll have a post game for you. And then we'll be back, obviously, on Monday with your episode after the Mavericks go ahead and beat, I'm calling it. They will go ahead and beat the Bulls.
Oh, the Bulls.
I'm feeling it. Yeah. Luka comes back for that game. And then they play the Bulls at home, American Airlines Center. I'm feeling good on that one.
Did you know DeRozan plays for the Bulls?
There you go, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.